It's 9 o'clock. The regular meeting of Mills County Commissioners Court is in session. If you join me in standing for the pledge and a prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Williams, would you lead us in prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you have granted us. Thank you for this county that we live in. Guide us and direct us in all our actions today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
So, Judge, can I address the court right quick before you start?
Yes.
So for everybody here, this is kind of a mic test today. If you notice, there's a mic, different kind of mics that are up here. We're going to see if this picks up a little bit better so that you're not having to turn your heads and stuff. These mics are on loan from the new theater downtown. So they come up and brought us some mics and stuff like that. And we're going to try these out and see if they help out. So you in the audience, if you can't hear, give us some feedback afterwards too, or if we're making too much noise on the desk, let us know. I just wanted to make that notice. Okay, Judge.
And Mr. Hale, there should be a setup somewhere in front of you, and if Charles Miles should be joining us, and you don't need to get right on it. It should be a wide pickup. Yeah. Okay. Let me say that we have 100% of the court present, as well as the county attorney, the county clerk, and the county treasurer. We have a quorum and the session is duly convened. We'll start with the minutes of August 23rd, which are in the court's package. If everybody's had a chance to review them, I had and had no comments.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of August the 23rd, 2021.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes of August 23rd. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is audience with individuals. We have two individuals who have signed up to speak. Diana Moore, talk about water resources. Ms. Moore. Okay, she is not present.
She
So,
brought that to me last week. She
Okay.
said she would be here.
okay, we'll put that aside. And then Jamie Simmons to talk about taxes. If you would come up, we have a microphone just for you.
Awesome, thank you. I had
5 minutes. If you'll just kind of keep it on me, I'll let you know when you have a minute left.
sure. I had gone ahead and printed out a copy of the Bureau of Labor Statistics latest report detailing consumer price index, which, if anyone is unaware, that means inflation. In June, consumer price index went up 0.9%. In July, it went up 0.5 or 5.4 or 0.5% for an annual increase all the way up to July of 5.4%. Now, if anyone doesn't know what that entails, it means everything we buy has gone up. And there's no chance anytime soon that it's going to normalize, come back down, or anything else. Cost of goods from food, gasoline, vehicles, manufactured products, they have all shot through the roof, as we've all seen over the last 2 years. And right now, we're going to raise taxes. Why? Does that make any sense whatsoever to raise taxes in a time where there's economic upheaval, in a time where the economy is nearly on the verge of collapse? Now, you might say it's not, that it'll normalize, and it might. But all signs point to the economy is going to get hit and hit hard. It's just a matter of time. The current national policies do not support a strong economy. There's plenty of jobs available, but no one's working because the government's handing out free cash. So with no one to work the jobs, no one's making the products, no one's waiting the tables, no one's cooking at restaurants. Inland passes, McDonald's is offering a bonus if you go and get a job there, a hire-on bonus for McDonald's, but no one's going to work. So if there's no one working, that's not going to improve the economy, no matter how much free money, well, how much of our money the government gives out, because taxation is theft. That's all it is. We've already paid taxes on our property when we purchased it. And here we are having to rent our property from the government. Why? Again, why? So if there is a discrepancy in the upcoming budget that warrants us raising taxes, that's understandable, but I think that should be addressed in the budget, not with my money, not with her money, his money, her money, his money, his money, her money, or her money. Your budget, because it's ours. Doesn't belong to the government, doesn't belong to Joe Biden, doesn't belong to Governor Abbott, it belongs to us. We purchased it, we paid for it. There should be no reason why we're raising taxes right now. If the economy was good, I can understand it. But right now, it is not only unconscionable, but it is morally reprehensible to try to nickel and dime the citizens of Mills County into further poverty than what already exists. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you. Number 4 on the agenda is consider an act on the accounts payable report that was distributed over the weekend electronically. Anybody has any questions on the accounts payable?
So on Knight's Law Firm,
Yes,
that's just as what we're owed now, correct? Since we tabled the subdivision discussion, are we gonna come back to them anymore, or?
first of all, to answer the first part of the question, yes, that's only on work that's already been done. They've been turned off for over a month. So there's that's it. Whether or not we go back to them, I think is an open discussion. It's not an automatic.
Okay. So, gotcha.
Any other questions on the accounts payable?
I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable.
I'll second that. Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, accounts payable are approved. Number 5, consider an act on line item budget amendments. I think it's precinct 2 amendments. Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Commissioner Guerin?
No, sir, I've got extra money in road materials and I need some tar.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move to approve it.
We have a motion to approve the line item amendments in precinct 2. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Number 6, consider an act on bank signature cards for the Sheriff's Commissary Fund. Ms. Campbell brought this to our attention. You want to explain it, Ms. Campbell, or is there someone from the Sheriff's Office here that would like to explain it?
I think I can explain it. The bank needs official minutes in order to transfer the signature card from Kim Torres, who's retiring the 31st, to Stephanie Brown. That's all this is doing.
For just the 2 commissary accounts, which are not county funds to speak. Okay. Any questions from the court? I'd move approval to update MC Bank signature cards to replace Pam Torres with Stephanie Brown on the commissary accounts.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the next one, 7, consider an act inmate housing agreement, McCulloch County. This is our standard interlocal agreement to board other counties' prisoners in our jail. This is McCulloch County, which is one we either had not previously done or had not done recently. Ms. Gerba, is there any backstory you'd like to add on this?
We have from Cole County that was out of date, plus they also had an administration change. So we just need to be updated.
This is again, the same rate and terms
It's the same rate as the other one.
on our other counties. I think we should.
So do we want it effective, on that effective date is the first day of August of 2021?
How long have we had the prisoners, Ms. Gerber? Do we need to back that?
Last week.
Okay,
Okay,
so with that now, I think we should also change the termination date from August 1st, 2021 to August 1st, 2022. I believe that's a typo. That is in section 201 on the bottom of the first page. These are typically one-year agreements with some renewal terms. If we don't make that change, the agreement's expiring the same day it's dated. Well, I would move approval of the interlocal agreement with McCulloch County for prisoner boarding with a modification of the
Hey.
initial termination date.
okay, I have a question.
I've got a motion. Let's get a second and then we'll go to discussion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second discussion, Commissioner Williams.
So on Article 201, it's saying for one period commencement of August the 1st, 2022 through August the 1st, 2023. Is that what you're wanting to fix?
No, the first line shall commence on the effective date, and we've defined that up at the top of the page of August 1st,
Oh,
2021, and shall terminate on August 1st, 2021. So and then there's the stuff about the automatic renewals in 2022, but we need to change that first, and that was the motion.
In a second.
Okay, and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Number 8 is the consider an act on Mills County budget for 2021, 2022. I've invited Charles Miles to attend. I see him in the audience and would welcome his participation. Charles, if you have things to say, we've got a podium and a mic set up. What I want to point out to the court is there's a couple of pages of verbiage in front of the numbers. This is not something you need to approve, but this is a mandatory cover thing that whatever budget is approved, this type of cover needs to go on the front of it as we file it for record. We need to say whether or not we are raising more or less revenue from property tax. And this one actually raises less revenue from property tax than last year. You have to identify the amount of new taxes from new property. You have to specify the outstanding debt of the county, which is the jail bond balance, which is here. And then you have to say the date you vote on it. And this was prepared as if we were doing it today. And then it's a record vote. We have to say by name for, against, abstain, absent, whatever the situation is. This doesn't presume to do any of that, but I wanted you to not be surprised seeing down the line is whatever's reported, this is going to be the cover sheet. And then there's the usual tax disclosures at the bottom and onto the next page. And if we get to a tax motion, we have to address the M&O rate, the sinking fund rate, the road and bridge rate. That makes a consolidated rate for the county. And then on the next page of the disclosure, this isn't anything we vote on. These are calculations from the appraisal district we went through last time. The no new revenue rates and the voter approval rates. So that's information. That's the type of cover that's required when a final budget is filed. What's behind that in the package is 3 pages that Mr. Miles prepared for us. This is also required. It's fund balance reporting for receipts by each fund showing the current budget, what we think is going to happen this year through September, and then the proposed budget for next year. And there's a page of receipts, page of disbursements, and a page of fund balances. The receipts and disbursements are all gross. As you look at the budget, you see there's lots of transfers, mostly from the general fund to different funds. And that's because the taxes, except for road and bridge, come into the general fund. So the money's moving, and that money is showing in receipts and disbursements. But at the bottom of the page, there is a transfer line to say net of transfers. So it all washes out there in the bottom, in the numbers at the bottom. You can't tell from looking at this which fund it washes out from. It's just reported in the aggregate. We've talked a lot about this budget. I just want to point to what I believe is the highlights, which is if you look at the receipts, net receipts, that's $5.8 million. And that is versus let's call it 5.2 in the current year budget. And the largest difference in the receipt side is the American Rescue Act money, some of which has come in, and you could see it in the ARA fund, 473,000 coming in this year, and a like amount is specified next year. So that's the big difference in the receipts. You look at disbursements, and I do that on the, I guess you could do it on the first page too. You can see we're proposing to spend 6.9 million versus the current year's budget of 5 million. So that's almost $2 million more of expenditures. Well, I'm going to round now, but about $1 million of that is spending the ARA grant money. And the plan would be to spend it this year upon receipt of this coming year. But since it received in 2 years, that's the way it looks. And the other part of it is spending about $1 million on infrastructure. And that money is not coming out of taxes. It's coming out of fund balances. If you look down, let's see, probably the best place is the third page on the fund balances. You can see we're going to end this year. The estimate is $3.8 million. Now that includes the American Rescue Act money. Well, after we spend the infrastructure investment, which is a combination of equipment, materials, overtime, road improvements, and there's some minor technology improvements. You can see the fund balance at the end of the year is $2.7 million total. And that's about where we were at the beginning of a year ago. So although this shows, and it's true, we're spending that $1 million that we're not receiving, we're spending money that the taxpayers have paid in prior years We're putting it into things that are for the benefit of the county. The alternative is you leave it in our bank and investment accounts where it earns something that it rounds to effectively nothing. And as the speaker pointed out, the cost of road materials and fuel and everything else is going to do nothing but go up. So it makes sense to do it sooner rather than later. And but that's an unusual approach to budgeting, and that's what's here. If you have any questions on the fund balance reports or anything in general, Mr. Miles is here and willing to answer them. The details of the budget we've talked about in many prior meetings, but there's 46 glorious pages of fine print. And followed by the other things that go with the budget, which includes a payroll schedule. Charles, let me start by asking you, you heard my soliloquy. Is there anything you want to add or correct?
I hate to be, the first thing I say would be a correction of my own, but if you look at page 3. Top page 3. 2019, 2020.
Okay.
You do have to keep it right close to your mouth.
Okay, on
There you go.
top page 3. The first column should say actual 2019, 2020. The second column should say budget 2021, 2020, 2021. And then the last two columns are correct, estimated for 2021 and the budget for 2022.
Okay.
And the other thing is, if you look at the proposed budget balance at the end of 2021, 2022, that $2,755,000 is what we had budgeted for that 2021 or the 2020 and 2021 roads. 22,746,000. So if you take the 2 years together, it's going to keep the fund balance consistent with what we budgeted last year.
Before we file this for record, could we get since this came from your office, we get a corrected one?
I'll get it corrected.
Okay. What else?
That's not the only thing I need to point out.
I have a couple quick questions, Judge, and just for my information on, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the precinct budgets, if that's all right.
Go right ahead.
Thanks. Start with, Jason, I'd like to ask you on your budget of the $325,000 for the equipment. I know the maintainer, and the judge told me this, I know the maintainer's not going to cost $325,000. I know you said it here in court. I'd like to know what you're going to spend for the equipment, the rest of it. And he told me that it was for the cameras on the
Surveillance equipment on the Regency Bridge.
cameras on the bridge. And that's about 30,000, well, it's about 50,000. So I wondered what kind of those costs. And my understanding of that too is that that's a shared cost with South. Is that correct? In other words, whatever we put into it, they're going to put into it.
As long as their court agrees to it too. I can't speak for San Salvador's court. So yeah, they're supposed to agree to it, but I can't say. That's what the commissioner, James Lebo, has told me, that we're going to match it. But I mean, he's put it in their budget also. So, but if it doesn't, then it'll all come out of us.
For both ends of the bridge.
Well, we'll just put the camera on our side and there won't be a camera on San Salvador's side.
What is that cost? That's what I'm asking.
Anywhere from 10 to 15,000.
Okay. I talked to Mr. Lustig from Cincinnati.
Yeah,
He said he's talked with you several times over this issue. And he told me if I had to, call him on the phone and let everybody listen to what he said, had to say about it, but they didn't agree, but 2 cameras on their end or $600 a camera. So I wondered why our end was so high, when I asked the $10,000 for our end, they're not spending but $600 for their 2 cameras. And he's also told me that Central Texas Telephone Co-op was furnishing the fiber optic to operate the camera.
no, there's no fiber optics. There's no fiber optics there. They're gonna do the install. All the co-op is gonna do is the install for us.
Okay.
And so it is a Cat5 cable, and we have to run it from a local, one of the boxes, and we have to get it over there. It's all on our side. Everything is on our side. So all the camera system and the main system is on our side. They wanted extra cameras on their side. They want them to point toward the other direction. I haven't talked to Ricky because Ricky's not the commissioner over there. I've been talking to James Lebo, so I don't know what Sensaba's done and what they haven't
I
done.
spoke with James Lebo also.
Yeah.
And he wasn't really familiar with any of it. So I remember some of the conversation, but Otis Lustig is one that talked with you so much. And he said that he's the one who gave me the information. I was just wondering if, and I asked him, are y'all going to match the cost too on y'all's end? And they're having a lot of trouble on their end. He said he was tired of picking up trash on their end. And that's the reason they voted for the camera, but they wasn't going to spend over $600 a camera for the 2 cameras that they're.
But those are 2 extra cameras. Those were 2 extra cameras is what the bid come in for us, with those 2 extra cameras. They were $600 a piece.
Yeah, he told me that under his understanding, they were going to put 2 on our end, you were, and 2 on the other end.
No, only one on our
$600.
end.
Excuse me?
There's only 1 on our end.
Okay, but so for $10,000.
Yes, and it goes through an internet system and provider and all that other stuff, just like does the courthouse and this stuff like that. But that's 10,000 for the whole system. They were gonna ask for theirs and we're gonna ask for ours, and if it doesn't match. So I don't know, I can't, like I said, I can't speak for Sensaba, so.
Well, he just said then that he said
But
that if y'all want to spend it all, that was great. Mills County spend it all to take care of it. He didn't have a problem, but $600 is what they agreed on. So I'm just asking this question. What I was told.
I wish you'd have asked this a couple of weeks ago so I could have done some research on it when we were doing this. Huh?
You already have it, didn't you?
No, I didn't know any of that had come up, so that's all new information to me, so I didn't know Sensaba had voted on that, so.
I think they've already approved all the budget, what I know, because I told them we were voting on ours Monday. So, and the other question I have, you can check whatever you need to.
But on the maintainer, we haven't been guaranteed a price on the maintainer. It's anywhere from 250 is on my bids, all the way up to 300.
Correct.
So I have no clue. So we did pad it a little bit so that we could get the maintainer. But we may not use it all. And what I figured, if we didn't use it all, we would put it in and use it for our other equipment that we're trying to buy for the.
Just asking questions. I have no idea. The other thing, thank you for the answer on. Judge, the other thing I want to talk to you about, if you don't mind, on the road and bridge that you budgeted overtime, $106,560 that we've paid 0 overtime for. We've never paid overtime. It's not even in our, unless we change the handbook, because right now we give comp time. And when is that process going to happen?
Ms. Campbell and I have talked about it there. We have, first of all, we do need to change the handbook to deal with this.
Right.
There's a cycle on the handbook that comes up in this next quarter.
Okay.
It's on the list of that to do. It would be limited to these projects. There wasn't any point in changing the handbook unless we changed the budget. So the budget comes first, the handbook was second. That's the logic on it.
Sure.
And the reason to spend the money on it is twofold. The biggest one is if we give comp time and we try to improve the roads of the county, that we're not getting any extra work. We're just taking people and hours and moving them from what they're doing now, which is supposedly maintaining the roads of the county, and moving them over here to maintain the roads of the county. And the net bottom line of it is there's no more hours spent on the county infrastructure. So the way to do it wasn't comp time, it's let's pay for it. And it gives also our road hands an opportunity to make some more money and do something for the benefit of the county. It gives the county the benefit of getting more work out of more hours on the infrastructure from experienced staff.
Has this been discussed?
Yes,
With
in here,
outside of here?
no. Why would it be I mean, this
Well,
is
I
the
know that
motive to
Jason-
discuss it.
Jason had asked me when I was sick, kind of your wish list. You had a wish list that you passed. I met with Jason at his precinct barn, did I not, Jason?
Yes.
And he asked me kind of the needs of precinct 1. I told him we had a trailer that was 37 years old that I had to replace because I couldn't haul my track loader on. It's 50,000 pounds and the trailer is not 31,000. He put that down. I have a pickup that had a lot of problems with. I didn't feel like spending $5,000 on it when it's not worth $2,500. And that's the only thing he asked some about hiring hands. I told him I didn't have a problem with that. If we, if we need, and we all need extra hands in our precincts, and we do it now a lot of times without extra hands. But I don't know how you came up with 106 if it hadn't been discussed. I don't understand that.
Well, first of all, there was a meeting that you were not attending, but it was a posted meeting of the commissioners to discuss stuff.
That is correct.
The way the number was calculated, I can tell you that it's math. It's our road hands rate times 10 hours of overtime a week times 8 road hands times 50 weeks. That will get you to that number.
Okay.
And then there's benefits that go with that, and those are on other lines.
Sure. I understand.
In that, Mike, in that meeting that we had with the commissioners workshop, we all agreed that we wanted more help or something to help with the road ends. And so this is what he come up with to help with the road ends, because it would be actually cheaper than hiring. And it's not a permanent price. You see what I'm saying? Where a road hand would be a permanent yearly price, where this is not.
Gotcha. I'm just asking, then on this other issue about the $106,000, I look back at the budget as the overtime that the sheriff's office paid. And what they have, 28 employees or 30, and they pay 106,000.
We're going to pay it if they work it. If you get 10 hours a week out of every employee for 50 weeks out of the year, that's the number. Do I think we're going to get that? No.
Okay.
But I'd like to ask for it. I'd like to tell the citizens of the county, we're putting aside the money to make a difference in our infrastructure. If whether it's weather, material, or the people don't want to do the work, that's fine. But the money is there to do it.
Okay. It's the same way with the equipment. You got 100, what you going to spend on that 100,000?
That's going to be left up to the commissioners for what they do with it. Now, I've seen a list that includes that trailer, for instance, you're talking about. It's going to be shared equipment. We don't need to keep accumulating 4 sets of each piece of equipment in each yard for things that only have intermittent use. And so we're going to buy it here
Well,
and share it.
I know that's that's good philosophy to try to do, and I agree with it 100%, but it seems like each commissioner, I can't speak for these other guys, I speak for myself, is that every time we need it, they need it also. Jed had a problem this past year with water. He used my water truck and he got one, which I think that's great. He needed it. I don't know how each precinct has haul trailers except precinct 1.
Precinct 1 has a haul trailer. Your point is
I can't
that it's
haul
not
that.
adequate
That is correct.
weight for one piece of equipment.
The court mandated that my employees get a Class A license. Is that correct?
The employee handbook,
That
which
is
was
correct.
approved by the court
That is correct.
for a number of years, requires CDLs for all road hands.
CDL Class A, it changed. It was a CDL. And my road hands had Class B CDLs. And then it was changed to a Class CDL, Class A. Once that was changed, these drivers of our trucks that drive these trucks, they can refuse if they feel it's unsafe. And my 2 employees have told me they're not pulling that track loader anymore. So it's going to have to set in the order. Dale's offered his haul truck, but is it legal to run down the road, Dale?
Yeah. I
You got
mean,
text dot.
it has not been inspected. I guess it's exempt from that, but we did get everything working.
Working, good.
And both of mine are DOT also.
I asked about using yours a couple of weeks ago to haul that.
My
truck.
trailer is not, it's the same weight as your trailer. That's what I'm saying. That's why we're trying to get a new haul truck.
We set aside a court session, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, to discuss precinct budgets.
I know you did,
So-
and I brought it up and tried to discuss it.
So-
And I didn't really get the answers that I hadn't been around on this other discussion to find out these answers. And so that's the reason I'm bringing it up now. I want to be, before I vote on this budget, what I'm voting on.
Well, you told the court back when I first introduced the budget that you were going to vote against it.
Well,
So-
I don't have a budget, Judge. You turned in my budget. I don't. That's the
You
problem.
turned in a budget.
Yes, I did.
I modified it because the county judge in a county our size is responsible for creating a proposed budget,
True.
which is what's put on the table. And it's been evolved since based on discussions in this forum and other places. So I would
Has this
move,
budget been approved yet?
it hasn't, but it may be because I move approval
Do I
of
not
the
have a
Mills
right to
County
ask
budget
questions?
for 2021-2022. So we have a motion for approval.
Also,
We have a second. Now, is there any discussion?
yeah. One other thing I like to ask, and that's local bridge fund. I found out over the weekend is that we might be changing our dispatch. Is that correct, or can I ask that? I'm in the dark here.
You're no more in the dark than I am. I
Okay.
can't tell you the answer to that. I don't know. So tell me what you found out.
I asked you a couple of weeks ago to sit down with the sheriff and the EMS people and resolve the issue that we had on our dispatch. Did I not?
I don't remember, but that's a logical suggestion. And I called the sheriff and asked for a meeting between Commissioner Parton and myself and him to talk about that,
Sure.
and was told, no, it's not necessary. I'm meeting with the chairman of the hospital district. I'll take care of it. That's first I knew about that meeting. As far as I know, that meeting never happened. And so don't lay that one on me. I tried.
I'm not, Judge. I'm just.
Well,
asking.
you asked.
I asked. Did I not ask?
Okay, we have a motion on the table.
I'm-
I
I
will call for the previous question. So, So that's a call for a vote on the motion. All in favor of the proposed budget for 2021, 2022, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Number 9. Consider an act on 2021 tax rate that does not exceed the no new revenue tax rate. This is a step that can't be taken until a budget's approved. The budget's now been approved with a noted negative vote from Commissioner Wright. The tax rates are outlined there's a notice that was published in the Eagle and is in your package. Just to be simple, the proposed tax rate for the county is 0.68 cents per hundred, which is lower than the current tax rate. It is lower than 0.69, the no new revenue rate, and it is lower than 0.7, the voter approval rate. So since it is lower than those rates, there is no public hearing required. It requires notice in a public meeting. The notice was published. This is the meeting, and it's very specific steps we have to take. And because of that, I'm going to take the liberty of making the motion to approve the following tax rates. The Mills County 2021 county M&O tax rate per hundred of 0.499739. Mills County Interest and Sinking Fund 2021 tax rate per hundred evaluation 0.075291, and Mills County 2021 Road and Bridge tax rate per 100 evaluation of 0.104998. And that is my motion on the tax rate.
I'll say it.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
One opposed. Okay. And that too will be a record vote on the disclosure. So let's see. Number 10, update on the status of the hail damage insurance claim. Guy Burns, Commissioner Williams, and I have been deep in this last week. I've asked Mr. Burns to join us. The bottom line is we are just flat at an impasse on between Clark Roofing, our designated roofer, and our insurance company and our insurance company's adjuster. Let's see, Mr. Burns, you want to tell us what's where?
Long story short, the insurance adjuster and the contractor did not come to terms on the price. I've spoken length with both of them on the phone, and bottom line is the contractor said he's not coming down off of what he wants to charge, and the insurance adjuster said, well, we'll just have to go with another way. So what we did is they recommend sending a consultant to look for other contractors and get an average price so they can compare what Clark wanted to charge as opposed to what they think is fair. I looked at some of the issues that the insurance adjuster noted, some of the price increases and all, and the numbers really didn't, in my opinion, they just didn't balance out from the contract. So in a nutshell, we're back to square one.
You kind of have a time frame guide, kind of what it's going to take to get some new bids.
So let me address this. When we went into this, there was a provision in some state code had to do with purchasing that for emergency repairs, you could not comply with some of the public bid requirements that based on action from court. The Commissioner's Court approved using that section of the state code. Now, here we are, what is it? Almost 6 months later. It's a little hard to say with a straight face. There's an urgent, and we got the broken window glass replaced. There's an urgent problem that we need to fix immediately to protect life and property. So I'm not comfortable operating under that exception anymore. So that means we need to go publishing an RFP, put it in the paper, getting bids. Our TAC has agreed, they have a recommended consultant that will do the legwork. I mean, we don't have a purchasing department. So they will help write the RFP to match the engineering specs on the agreed damage and do the required publishing to do it. There's also something akin to a buy board, which to the extent the work scope fits within a contract that's already bid on this, not buy board, but the equivalent, it's a purchasing co-op, that we can short circuit some of this and still have done the public solicitation of bids. So that's the route we're going to have to go. I don't know a timeline. I told TAC we're going to discuss it today, that I wanted to discuss it with their consultant. They have agreed that they would pay, the TAC will pay out of the insurance proceeds the cost of the consultant to get this done. They feel some ownership in this too. So does that answer your question? So the short answer is I don't know.
Yes.
And anybody that gives you a date is guessing.
Thanks.
And we did, I guess, Guy, we did ask for to secure up the bills that what Clark Roofing has already done.
Right.
So they're gonna be sending us those so we can get that tidied up, because they went ahead and fixed the windows that first breakage and then they've done some window work and replaced all the pane. So we gotta go ahead and pay them for that.
That was a couple $100,000, I believe.
I hope not.
Oh,
Yeah, we actually got the bill Friday. Around numbers, it was 16,000 and change.
because I
Guy and I have gone through it. I think they have one more window than they actually did, so it'll come down a little bit. Tax agreed that was a necessary repair. So I think, we'll have to write the check and get reimbursed. They've actually offered to front the check to us.
For what it's worth, the insurance adjuster from McLaren said he will do everything he can to get this thing, because he says, it's been a long time. He's going to do everything he can to get this process and get it moving and expedite it. So, for what it's worth.
And what wasn't mentioned is Victor Uvalde. I think y'all all know him. He showed up at the courthouse last week, just checking on us and wanted to know how our insurance work was and all that got done. Judge goes, we haven't got anything done. And Victor was not happy. So he went back, and I guess he's the one that kind of got a lot of this ball rolling. So
Good. Like I said, it's been a long time.
It has. And a lot of it was back and forth. It looked like it was largely over the fight of trying to get the whole roof membrane replaced. And once the engineer said no on that, then the prices just went nuts on everything else.
On the other side, Architects is they're on the roof right now, replacing the fan guards on the compressor units and the damage over there at the senior center on that vent, and that was already approved by insurance. So other than the glass being replaced, the temporary repairs, the glass being replaced, that's those are the only things that have been done so far.
Anything else for Mr. Burns? Thank you, Guy. Okay, commissioners, requests and reports. Commissioner Wright.
We've been busy with a lot of equipment repairs. We just got our 12/8 repair. Water pump went out on it. I've got the D6 dozer inside the building now. We've got 3 hydraulic hoses underneath that drop the bed panel in. We've been cutting with brush, and that's all I have.
Commissioner Guerin.
We've been taking out fence lines for an individual. We've got another individual wants us to take them out a week or so. And in between that, we've been hauling material and working on equipment.
Commissioner Parkin.
No, we've been repairing or pulled the transmission out of the one maintainer. It's headed back to Oklahoma today and be fixed. The other maintainer has a sale out on it, so basically we're down to one maintainer for the precinct for probably the next month, maybe 2 months. Other than that, we're trying to work on the roads, all dirt.
Commissioner Williams.
Not much from since last Monday. We've just been worked on roads and been hauling lots of material. Got some material given to us out of San Saba County, which has been really nice. And so we're checking on it this morning, see how it held up in the rain.
Okay. Well, as much fun as it has been to see you guys every Monday. We had posted every Monday in August as a regular commissioners court meeting. September, which is right around the corner, we're back to our usual schedule of second and fourth Mondays. I wanted, the clerk asked me to announce something. We have Monday's a holiday. It's the Labor Day observation. We have a jury trials scheduled here in district court, and jury summonses start Tuesday. I mean, they'll be here. Now, they'll be off-site at the Methodist Church for the initial screening, but then there will be a crowd in the courthouse most of the next week, and I believe there might also be a grand jury impanelment going on. So there'll be a lot of traffic here. I might want to mention that the clerk's office will be closed to the public after 3 on Friday, because they will be over at the Methodist Church setting up for the jury screening over there, which will occur the following Tuesday. So is there anything else I missed?
They are, depending on which case goes to trial, it may last longer than 1 week. We have, I think, 15 on the docket call for Wednesday. So it's, depending on which case goes, it could last for 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, well, that's the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.